Hi, Wilna Furstenberg here with another little ruffle tutorial. In this quick tutorial, I'm going to show you a technique to paint on the ruffle paper by Dear Lizzie. I'm using some Fifth and Frolic little embellishments, and I'm going to be painting with gesso mixed with a little bit of multi-medium or Mod Podge. So what you need is the ruffle papers and a piece of plain cardstock, and I have a bunch of the heavy American Craft heavyweight cardstock, and I love it and I use it all the time. So I take a craft stick and I just add some Mod Podge or multi-medium to my gesso, and the reason why I'm doing that in the pot itself is because that's really the last of my gesso, so it's basically done, and I'm just going to mix it up and spread it on the page, and then I'm going to proceed to paint it, actually using my brayer, just that little roller, on the Dear Lizzie paper. When you ink your brayer, you can see I lift it up while I roll it. And then the first thing that you should know is not that way, wrong way, from the top down, because the ruffles will tear if you roll it other way. So I'm just inking it up or painting it and then rolling from the top down very gently on the ruffles. Well, I'm going to speed up the video, and you can see once that's done, I'm going to use my embossing tool and dry it. You can use a hairdryer as well. And this is important because I wanted the ruffles to be free and clear, almost like a little skirt. So I gently lifted it up so that it can dry. And I think it's the Mod Podge that made it a little sticky. But it dried fairly quickly, and it dried beautifully with the white paint on top of it. Also, if you add a little multi-medium or Mod Podge, it gives it a bit of a glossy feeling, so it's a lovely technique. So now you can see my ruffles are not flat, but they are dimensional, and that's the texture that I wanted to work with. And to just finish the page now is super easy. I was thinking of using that doily, but in the end I just removed it from the page, and I used this very cute couple, a very dear friend of mine and her husband that I photographed, and I just used some paper embellishments that I used down the line, down the left side of the page, and some of the Dear Lizzie fabric that I cut in strips so that it looks like it runs down the whole part, but it doesn't. That little rose, I bought a silhouette cut that I used just some white cardstock to cut it with, and then you just roll it up and it makes the most beautiful little rose. So I'm just going to use some hot glue and stick it down. I'm not adhering the picture to the paper itself because I wanted to have that dimensional look. So I'm just going to use my sewing machine and stitch down the sides of the embellishments on the one side, and I'm going to do it twice, or maybe a little more than twice. And I love that little foxes. I think it's so cute. I think it fits the picture perfectly. And now I'm adding my little rose, and I think it gives it a beautiful dimension. And I want to color the rose a little because it was too blue. The paper was too blue. So I just sprayed it with a little ink. And I don't mind that there was a little ink on the page itself at all. I'm going to use the gold thickers by Dear Lizzie, and I'm just going to write true. To repeat the gold in the thickers or the title, I'm just going to add a strip of the gold dots at the top underneath one of the ruffles so that it just sticks out a little bit. See, I'm trying to decide where I want to put it. So I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue there and cover it partly with a ruffle. So now the gold just repeats itself, and I'm going to journal with my slick writer, American Craft slick writer, a fine point on the picture itself. And this is the page. Thank you for watching.